Sometimes when I'm standing and I don't walk for miles, my heart could be crying dead in the middle of a smile. Then I climbed the hills and saw mountains. I all I held 'cause I was lost, and I felt a strong wind and a small voice saying the storm is over, storm is over now. I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. I feel the heaven here over me. Come on and set me free. Oh, somehow my beginning stepped right in, and faith became my friend. Now I can depend on the voices of the wind. When they say storm is over, storm is over now, I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. I feel the heaven is over me. So come on and set me free. Storm is over now. I can see the sunshine somewhere beyond the clouds. I feel the heaven, yeah, over me. Come on and set me free.
Yeah, so we are now fully ready to apply everything that we have learned in this entire series. You know, The Storm is Over by R. Kelly, and I believe everybody has heard this song before, or everybody is familiar with this song before. If some way somehow you have never heard it before, just go straight to YouTube and then search for The Storm is Over by R. Kelly, and then you will see it there. Yeah, and so as we know, we are coming to apply everything from 7th chords to 9th chords to 11th chords, 13th chords, tritones, diminished 7th chords, and then our altered chords. We are coming to apply everything to this song. Now you know that the progression to this song is very, very simple and very basic. The song itself is in the key of B flat. The progression of this song is very simple. Start off from the 1 to the 4 and then to the 5. That was even how the intro was played, right? So the intro and the verse have the same progression, just the 1, 4, 5. So it should be 1, 4, 5 till we get to the chorus. Then the chorus will also be 1, 4, 5. So now let's take our time. Let's start from the intro and then see the kind of chords that we can apply and then use to substitute these basic chords. Okay, so let's get started. If you paid attention to the cover, you realize that there was a bass player. Now, since there's a bass player, we are coming to use our left hand to play chords as well. And you remember, in some of the chords, the chord extensions like the 11th and the 13th chords especially, you realize that we were not even able to play those chords with just one hand. You needed the support of the other hand. Yes, so in order to play advanced chords, we know that we will definitely need to use these two hands. Okay, yeah, so we are not coming to do an octave on the left and a chord on the right stuffs here. Every hand will be playing chords, and this is how your chords will sound even more richer. Okay, And this is how your chords will even sound more richer. So let's see what we can do on the one. Now on the one, basically we can just decide to play the B flat second inversion chord on both hands. So you have the B flat second inversion on my left and at the same time on my right. And on the 4, I was playing this interesting chord. This is what I was playing, this interesting chord. Now look at the MIDI clause. The MIDI clause says E flat major 7th chord. Now let's see if it is truly an E flat major 7th chord or not. How many notes do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And a major 7th chord is supposed to be made up of how many notes? 4 notes. But then I'm playing an 8-note chord and it's telling me an E flat major 7th. Now take a look at my left hand carefully. You can clearly see that my left hand is an E flat major 7th chord. Yeah, so what is happening here? Take a look carefully at my right hand chord. You can clearly see that the notes are just made up of the E flat major 7th chord. Because in the E flat major 7th chord, I have a G note inside. Now there's our G. I have a B flat, there's a B flat. I have a D, there's a D. And I have a G again. So nothing has changed. You see? If you take a look at the individual notes, you realize that nothing has changed. Okay, so one interesting thing, and in the song breakdowns, I may be saying a couple of things that I didn't even say in the lesson breakdown. So it's very important that you watch the lesson till the end. So one lesson that we are learning from what I just did is that you can actually repeat the same chord on your left hand, on your right hand. Or at the same time, you can choose to rearrange the notes. So let's say I play an E flat major 7th, and then on my right hand, instead of repeating it with an E flat major 7th like this, I take away this G and I come and repeat the G here, as if I'm trying to invert it. But this is not really an inversion. So you see, this is another voicing of an E flat major 7th chord. So we start on the 1. So this over the 4. Okay, now what is this chord? F add 9th. Okay, so F add 9 simply means an F major chord with the 9th note added. And we already know what the 9th note is, right? So what is the F major chord? This is an F major chord. So what I did was to play the root chord of the F note with my left hand and the first inversion with my right hand. Now, technically, which note is supposed to be the 9th note of the F scale? It should be the 2, right? The 2 is the same as 9. I hope you haven't forgotten. So this is an F major chord over the 5 in the key of B flat, an F major chord. So what I just did, or what I decided to do, was just to add the 9, which is the same as the 2. But in this case, because we are extending the chord, it will be a 9th chord. So this is an F add 9th chord, or F added 9th chord. And it's very similar to the main chord. But still, it makes your play richer. So far as you have many fingers, you have to utilize it. So instead of playing the root chord and the first inversion, I decided to add the 9th here and the 9th on my right hand as well. Now giving me an 8-note chord again. So you can realize that you can clearly see that the chords are becoming very rich. So okay, then yeah. So this is just a basic 1, 4, 5 in the key of E flat, sorry, B flat. A basic 1, 4, 5 in the key of B flat, right? Okay. Yeah. So basically, this is it for the verse as well as the intro. Now you can go on and expand these same chords. So look at this carefully. For on the F note, for instance, or on our 5, for instance, I can choose to play the second inversion and combine the root chord as well. And this is called a polychord. Okay, yeah. So you have clearly seen that it is still the same F added 9th chord. But what are we doing? We are combining the second inversion and the root chord together with the 9th added to the root chord on my left hand. And you see, it's the same chord. the same F added ninth chord, but we are producing a different sound, which is different from this, right? Yes. So even though I'm showing you the breakdown of this song, you can clearly see that we are also learning on how to expand just one same chord and produce different sounds. And this is very similar to the principle of inversion, right? You can clearly see that this is very similar to the principle of inversion. So after this lesson, I want you to take your time. Now you can pick the E flat major 7th chord that we played, for instance. I did it this way. You should know that there's a lot of ways that you can even expand on this chord, right? So you can choose to, you can take away the B flat and then replace it here, and then get a chord like this. Keep trying and keep trying. So it's still the same 1 4 5 till this part. So now let's take a look at this part. So this part is basically a 2 1 5. Okay, but since it's a freestyle lesson, we can even make it 2 1 and then 7 as well, because the 5 and the 7 are like brothers. So it's basically a 2 1 5, then 2 1 then 5. Now, like I'm saying, we can make the 5, or we can turn the 5 into a 7 and then change the nature of the chord a little. So before we approach the 2, I played a diminished 7th chord over there. Okay, so it is 7 as a passing chord, and as intermediate and advanced players, I believe we have already heard of the word passing chord before. Like basically, they are the chords that you utilize to fill in the gaps just before you get to the main progression. So the main progression of this song is. Now before this part, you see that there was a space, right? Before you get to. So we can play a chord in there to fill that space. And that is basically what is known as passing chords. So the chord that we want to play is actually on the 6th. And then we are playing a diminished 7th chord. We are playing an F diminished 7th chord, which is on the 6th, which is over the G. So an F diminished 7th chord over the G. Now, this chord, according to the MIDI clause, can be called a G7 flat 9, and this becomes an altered chord. So let's take a look at what this G7 flat 9 chord is and how we ended up playing it like this. We are still expanding our knowledge on chords. So we already know this is a G major chord, and then this is a G7 chord, right? Now, because you saw flat 9, it means that there was actually a 9 inside. So this is a G9 chord or G dominant 9th chord. Now, G7 flat 9, which means that you have to flatten the 9. As soon as you flatten the 9th, it becomes a G7 flat 9. So you see, this is a G7 flat 9th chord. So we had a a G dominant 9th chord, and then we altered the 9 to become a G7 flat 9. Now, you can clearly see that this is the basic way of forming a G7 flat 9 chord, but I played the chord like this. So I modified the chord, or I rearranged the notes. Okay, so this is the chord again, right? We take our G as I took the G, let's say the G is our bass note. Now it's left with these ones, and then I can just choose to invert it downwards by taking the A flat and then bringing it here. And you see, I have just inverted it. I haven't changed any notes, so it's still the same chord. Then I can choose to invert it downwards again by taking the F and then placing it here. We have already learned how to invert chords. So it's still the same G7 flat 9th chord. So we had this chord, and then we converted it. We have been able to convert it into this. Okay, so you realize that if you sit down with the knowledge that you have gained in this entire course, if you sit down, you can do a whole lot. You can do a whole lot on your own. You can manufacture a whole lot of chords on your own. So basically, it's like I've given you every tool that you need concerning advanced chords. Now that's why I'm doing a little with you, so that you get the understanding, and then you sit down and then create more chords on your own. But so you can just pick any chord at all, rearrange the notes, and then it will still be the same chord, but then you'll be getting different voicings. So with this G7 flat 9th chord, what I decided to do was to actually ignore the G bass note. Now the moment you take away the G bass note, it becomes an F diminished 7th chord. Now we know how a diminished 7th chord is constructed. So I chose to play the diminished 7th chord on both hands, like this, to the 2, which is actually a C minor chord. Now we already know a minor chord. So now here's the case. Now in this case, I'm also repeating the minor chords at the same time to our B flat major chord. Now we have already played this B flat, so and then okay. Now the ridiculous is saying an F add 9th chord again, and this is truly an F added 9th chord. Now look at the notes carefully. Okay, so it is an F added 9th chord because these are the notes that constitute an F added 9th chord. There's an F major chord. Now by adding the 9th to it, or the 2 to it, you get an F add 9th chord. And then what happened? Take a look at this carefully. You can see that we have an F sus 2 chord, right? I just decided to repeat the sus 2 here, but it's still made up of the F add 9th notes. And bear in mind that the software has been programmed. Like I was telling you in the altered chords, you can even get another name for the same chord. One chord can have a couple of names depending on how you look at it and how you want to name it. So take a look at this one very well. An F add 9th chord. I can also say that I have an F major chord on my left and an F sus 2 chord on my right, and I'm not wrong. So that's what I mean by you can also name it the way you want or the way you understand it. By combining all the notes, it becomes an F added 9th chord. Okay, so we have the 2 to the 1 to the 5. Okay, and I was saying we can replace the 5 with the 7. So it will be like then we have the 7. Okay, so we can replace it with the 7th chord. And now the 7 is what's an A, right? So we are just playing an A minor 7th chord. Instead of playing the F added 9th chord, which is your 5, we can play an A minor 7th chord. Now, A minor 7th chord. So this is the A minor 7th chord. I've chosen to repeat the C over here. So it's still an A minor 7th chord. So we can play the first one on the 5 like this. And then the second one on the 7. So our A minor 7th chord. Now it's really beautiful. This chord is really beautiful. Then we come to now this is an F dominant 11th chord. Okay, so from here come to an F dominant 11th chord. So you know that F is 5 in B flat, right? The F note is 5. The B flat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. F is 5. So an F minor 11th chord. Now let's take a look at the F 11th chord. Why is this one an F 11th chord? So how do we construct an F 11th? First of all, we have to construct our F 7th or F dominant 7, which is this to this, right? Then we add the 9, then we add the 11. Okay, so how did we get the F 11th chord? So you realize that instead of playing the C like this, I omitted the C, and it's still an F 11th chord. Even though I haven't added this, it's still an F 11th chord, and I chose to repeat the F note over here. So the F note is 2, but it's still an F 11th chord. So this is basically this is the chord itself. You can play it like this, okay, or this. So I'm giving you 2 variations of playing the F 11th chord. So now to this. So from the F 11th chord, we play another F chord again, which will be this chord, the F 7th chord. or F dominant 7th chord. Now you can clearly see that a dominant 7th chord is like this, right? So I have my F note over here, and then you see the E flat here. I have the same E flat over here. And then what did I do? You see this F note, I chose to repeat it here, and then this A note, I brought it here. So it is still an F dominant 7th or F 7th chord. Okay. So though I'm teaching you this song, I'm really expanding on chords and how you even understand it more, and how you on your own can modify it to get different sounds. Basically, this is what this lesson is about, though I'm teaching you the song itself. Okay, so from an F 11th chord to an F 7th chord, and then to the storm is over, the chorus, and then the how do you call it? The progression they say 145. 145. They say 145. You see, they say 145. Then they come on and set me free. I play a passing chord there, which is supposed to be on the 3 or on the D note. It's supposed to be on the D, but I play a passing chord there. Okay, so what do we have? A D, and this is an altered chord as well. So this is a D augmented 7th sharp 9th. So now I believe you understand. If you see an altered chord, you see an altered chord. D augmented 7th sharp 9th chord. Now I'll give this to you as an assignment. I want you to go ahead and find out why this chord is a D augmented 7th sharp 9. Well, because of the bass guitarist, or because of the bass in the cover, I wouldn't add the D to it, so it will be like this. Now look at something interesting over here. Instead of playing the D notes, because the progression is on the D, or the note lies on the D, instead of playing the D note, I omitted the D note and I played the tritone of D. Okay, I played the tritone of D. Now we know that the tritone of D is what? The 3rd and the flat 7th of the D scale. So the 3rd and the flat 7th, right? And then it created the D augmented 7th sharp 9th chord. Now here's where we have seen one application of a tritone. So this is what we call the tritone substitution. Instead of playing the D note, I played its tritone instead. And now take a look, listen to the sound. Listen to this chord again. If I had played only the D, this is the sound I would have gotten. Now look at this one. You can really tell that there's a difference between the two. Now between this and this, which one do you prefer? So also learn how to employ these tritone concept substitutions. Instead of playing a bass note, try and substitute it with its tritone, either the 3rd and the flat 7, or the flat 7 and the 3rd. The one that will be most suitable. One thing that I can tell you is the tritone shouldn't be it shouldn't be played at the lower side. If it is too low, it doesn't sound nice. So try and play it from this region upwards. Okay. So I wouldn't play this tritone over here. Play it here. Yes. So that is one tip I'm giving you as well. So I want you to find out why how this chord was altered to get the D's augmented 7th sharp 9th chord. So this one to the 6. Okay, so the common one is set to be free. So this is the 6. So it's on the G note. So this chord is all on the G note. Okay, now the moment I add the G to it, it becomes a G minor 9th chord. It's a G minor 9th chord. Okay, now how is this a G minor 9th? I want you to forget about the ridiculous for now. I told you chords can be named in a different way. I'm playing this over the G, so it becomes a G minor 9th chord. But because my hand cannot play the G in addition, the ridiculous is thinking that I started my note on the F, and it's giving you F6 added 11th. Yeah, this is an altered chord as well. But I'm not playing it on the F, I'm playing it on the G. If I play it on the G, it will end up becoming a G minor 9th chord. Okay. So I want you to find out why this chord can be a G minor 9th chord, or why I'm calling this chord a G minor 9th chord. It's your assignment as well. And so the come on, so 6, come on and set me free. Then we go to the 7. Okay, then we go to the 7. Then from the 7, we go to the flat. Let me play it together. So so far what we have done. So from the storm is over. Let me play so far everything we have done. Now come on, set me free. Okay, you see. So the 7, then somehow. Okay, so before we got to the somehow, you did 2 passing chords there after the 6. So we go to the 7, then so on the 6. Now take a careful look at this chord. Take a critical look at this chord. Well, you can clearly see that I have an A bass note. So this over the 7, you can clearly see that I have an A bass note. Or we can also do this instead of playing this and then this, which are made of suspended chords. We can play it like this for the somehow. Okay, so this is the same A minor 7th chord that we learned, and then this is a B minor 7th flat 5 chord. Now this is an altered chord. So let's see why this is a B minor 7th flat 5. Now this is a B major chord. This becomes a B minor chord. By lowering the third, we get a B minor chord, right? And a B minor 7th chord, if you want to play a B minor 7th chord, you have to play the flat 7, not the major 7th, but the minor 7th. So we've got our B minor 7th chord. Now, this note, this D note, is the same as this D note here. So we are still in the B minor 7th chord range. We are still in the B minor 7th chord range, because this D note is the same as this D note. Okay. Then this was the actual chord I played. So this note that I altered from the F sharp or the G flat to the F is what brought about the flat 5, because this is a 5 and flat 5. So that was what created the altered chord. And we have a B minor 7th flat 5. So B minor 7th flat 5 to the somehow to the 2, then to the 5, a regular F major chord, the 5. Now there was this passing chord, so the whole thing would be like. So you see, this melody line fall on the 6. Now we can do a couple of passing chords to the 6. And the cover, this is exactly what I played. Then to the 6, which is okay. So let's take a look at these chords. Now this is over the A bass note, which makes it an A minor 9th chord. See, an A bass note, which makes it an A minor 9th chord. So why do you have an A minor 9th chord? See, look at the chord carefully. You can already see that we have the 9 already. And why is it a minor? This is supposed to be the major. The third, you see, the emphasis is always on the third, right? Whether the chord is a major chord or a minor chord, the emphasis is always on the third. Now, the third has been lowered by a semitone, so we have a minor chord. And then we have our minor 7th chord. So this is our A. This is our A minor 7th chord, right? An A minor 7th chord, because we have the minor 7th note and then we have the minor third. So in order to make it a minor 9th chord, you have to add our 9 to it. We already know this. But this time, I took the 9 away from here and then brought it here. Right? So it's an A chord. A minor 9th chord. Okay. So then and we have our D augmented 7th flat 9 sharp 11th, and this is a very lovely chord. Now I want you to go ahead and find out why this chord is a D augmented 7th flat 9 sharp 11 all by yourself, and give me a feedback on it. Like, give me your reason why. Figure it out and then explain to me how you found out that this chord is truly a D augmented 7 flat 9 sharp 11. So okay, this is also a G minor 9th chord. I want you to find out why this chord is a G minor 9th chord based on all the explanations I've done from the beginning of the breakdown of this video. Okay, yes, but because we have a bass guitarist with us this time, we won't do this. So we are playing this. The bass guitarist will play this note, the G notes for you. So we are doing this, but you should know that it's actually a G chord. That's why I intentionally brought the G note. Okay, yes. So from here, that's what you have. This okay. So here's where you play, right? Then this is also on the 2. We already know this 2. Down to the 5. We already know the 5. Then we take it to the next key, which is D. On the B on the 5, I'll just play a G flat 7th or an F sharp 7th. So it's 2 and so it's 4. Or simply an E major chord over the F sharp. And I can choose to repeat this E major chord on my left hand as well. So bass notes.
I was in a tunnel and couldn't see the light. And whenever I look up, I couldn't see the sky. Sometimes when I'm standing and I had to walk for miles, my heart could be crying dead in the middle of a smile. Then I climbed the hills and saw mountains. All I held 'cause I was lost and I felt a strong wind. Then a small voice saying the storm is over, storm is over now. I can see the sunshine